Welcome back to Dummy Boy Finance. I'm Dummy Boy, and in this video, we're going to go over Humbl Stock. We're going to go over their ER, what I think about the ER, where I think this company is going, and what I loved about what we saw the last couple days. So before we get into that, I just want to go over the price action. One thing I do want to mention here, out of 40 weeks that we've had since this top, we've had 31 weeks that have been red, and we've had 9 weeks that have been green. So there are going to come times where you're going to see a massive drought in any successful company, any successful stock. This is just part of the game. Remember, the stock is not the company and the company is not the stock. So we are going to see lots of volatility with the stock. Another thing that I want to mention, most stocks usually like to show revenue, years of growth before the IPO, before people get to invest in them. The reason why this is so important, because most companies are first private, they grow for years and years and years, and once they start to see that they have potential and they need funding, they'll go public. Whereas Humbl is just starting from the bottom, and we are going to watch this company grow in front of our eyes. And the con about that is we are going to see tons of droughts. We're going to see tons of rips. We are going to see tons of volatility with the stock. And so the 31 down weeks that we've seen in the past 40 weeks is not a fluke. This is what happens to plays like Humbl. But yesterday, Brian Foote actually dropped an impressive ER that we are going to go over, and I just want to go over the balance sheet. I don't care about the preferred shares. I don't care who got issued, who shares got canceled, what type of lockup period we're looking at. I only care about one thing, and I want to see growth. If I'm looking at this, we're just going to do the basics on this. Total current assets, you can see, absolutely amazing. If we look at our total assets just from a year ago, we could see a major improvement. Now, where is this coming from? Different plays. You know, we have acquired Tickery, we've acquired Monster Creative. And so if we go further, our total liabilities are more than our total assets. And so usually if we're looking at a company that has been in development for a decade, 15 years, this is not what we want to see. We don't want to see your total liabilities exceeding your assets. However, when we're looking at a startup, you need to understand there's going to be a lot of startup costs, whether it comes with new employees, whether it comes with acquisitions of new companies, or different types of marketing that they need to acquire to make their name known. And so when I see total liabilities more than assets, it's not so much of a concern to me because I know this is a startup company. And so even though our stock price has been going down, within the company, we've actually been seeing tons of new growth, new hires, new acquisitions, and just new ways to develop this digital world and this company that is going to take over that world. And so another thing I want to look at right here is the amount of revenues we made. And so this right here is where the bread and butter is. You can see we made 1.5 million in 2021 so far. Last year, you clearly know we had no revenue. And so now this is our first indicator. What I mean by this is the next ER is going to be very important. That ER is going to let us know if our numbers are going to be growing quarter over quarter or are they going to be dropping. Because we never had a gauge earlier and we had zero revenues, we didn't really know what was going on. Now that we actually have a base number, which is this 1.5 million, we need to see this company continuing to grow this revenue number. If I continue to see increases in this revenue, this is going to be an absolute gold mine of a stock. And that is the only real thing that I'm concerned about with a startup. I just want to see increases in revenue quarter over quarter and year over year. If I can find that in Humbl, then I know this is the one. And now, aside from the balance sheet, we're looking at a quick recap of everything that's happened with Humbl. If you want to pause the screen right now and just go over this information, this is a summary that was posted onto Twitter by Brian Foote himself. So right now we're looking at the product roadmap and the goals. And so this is a very important slide for long-term investors. And the reason I say that is because as a long-term investor, you have to understand the thesis that is the company and how this company is going to succeed with their products. So when we look at their products, we see Humbl Pay Wallet. You can buy crypto, you can earn interest, you can send stable coins, exchange digital assets, and now what's next is the account lookup, P2P, ETXs, and so this is massive. There's tons and tons and tons of people who are buying cryptos off unregulated websites, platforms, exchanges. Their money is being lost, their accounts are getting hacked. And so with this increase in crypto and just this curiosity in overall digital assets, we're going to see a company that derives their digital assets through the blockchain, with the top guy in the game being Brian Foote. And so I know if Brian Foote is at the head of the helm, he's obviously going to hire the best of the best. And so I'm very confident in Humbl and Brian Foote to carry on these ambitious goals that they have. Marketplace, the NFT gallery is something that I personally enjoy. I'm not a big believer of personally buying NFTs, but I do see a space for them. And so just because I'm not a fan of NFTs doesn't mean that I am going to bash this. I know that people have been making money on this. I know people have been buying and selling NFTs. Do I think NFTs are going to have a bear market? Absolutely. They're going to get decimated at one point. When that point is, I can't tell you right now, but anybody who has NFTs are going to get absolutely destroyed at one point. But the beautiful thing about Humbl is that they are a marketplace for those exchanges. Not so much them making money off of NFTs, but they're making money off of people buying and selling NFTs. And so that right there is a very solid exchange that I personally like. And I feel like as we continue this digital economy, these NFTs are going to get better. They're going to get more interactive. And I do think Humbl is going to be one of those mega players that will have control over a certain segment of this NFT space. The last one we're looking at, Humbl Financial. So Humbl Financial is my favorite part of this business. I think this right here is what differentiates this company from every other company that tries to do this. Every company is trying to make an exchange where they can trade coins, but what I like with Humbl is they actually have something to offer that is quite unique, and that is a mutual fund style investment into an ETX that kind of bundles up digital assets together, and it kind of minimizes overall risk. This shows that this is going to be a real player as an online bank. Some people want mutual funds, they like stocks, but I could see a world where a lot of people will start to shift to ETXs because they want bundles of digital assets. And so the fact that these guys have already started to integrate this and they are carrying on with a mobile app, their platform is only going to get better, the specs are only going to get greater, and what they're able to offer is only going to grow. And so when I see all of this with Humbl, a startup company that just released revenues this quarter. And so those of you who don't want to go through the entire earnings report and don't want to read on about the business, then feel free to look at this recap and highlights little page. Either screenshot this, pause this, go over what you want to go over, because this recaps everything in our ER. And so again, if you guys want to go over this, just stop this, go over it, but I don't want to read through all of these right now. So now coming back to a Humbl chart, we're looking at this on the weekly time frame, and the reason why I want to look at Humbl on the weekly is just because I do think that when this one starts to run, it's going to have a very long run. And so I like to look at plays that have been down for a very long time on the weekly, because once you start to see a reversal on the weekly is when you're going to get the most amount of gains in a longer period of time. And so with Humbl, our RSI is at a 36. So we're almost oversold here on the weekly. We're looking at our MACD. Our MACD actually had a very nice crossover to the upside. We are still in the negative territory, so it's not a buy per se, but if you understand this company and you understand what's happening, then these are all levels to be accumulating shares. This is going to be a crazy run up when it happens. Is it going to happen over a month? Is it going to happen in a week? Is it going to explode straight up, or is it going to be a gradual climb? I can't tell you that, but looking at our RSI and looking at how many weeks we've been down, I do think we are going to get a long uptrend where we might not just shoot up right away, but we'll have slow and steady growth with bursts that will go up, will cool off, burst back up, cool off. And so I personally believe that it is very rare to find such a great play, not only at a cheap price, but so early in its development. Because like I said before, a lot of these companies that we see IPO, they're already well established, they're already making revenues, they're already showing growth. Whereas this company is just starting. So now imagine a world where we start to see year over year growth with Humbl. That's when we're going to start to see big institution money start coming in. They're going to look at Humbl like, wait, this company's continuing to make growth and money. And that would happen maybe a year and a half, 2 years from now. And so just using simple common sense, whenever you're able to buy an IPO, you're buying it when it first comes out. It may go down the next month. It may go down for a year, even 2 years. After year 3, 4, 5, 6, 99% of the time, IPOs do result into better gains. And so the prices we're at with Humbl right now are dictating a very strong uptrend, a strong accumulation right now. Very excited to see where this one goes. I personally think that we saw a great earnings report. People are going to bash about anything that they can find about this stock. The biggest thing were the revenues, and we just saw this company come out with 1.5 mil in revenues, and this is after the pandemic, still partially in the pandemic. And so I'm excited just to see how these guys continue to develop. Who are they going to acquire next? This is just a company that I'm going to ride with because I want to watch them blossom in front of my eyes. Whether that means uplisting. If we see this company continue to uplist exchanges, just remember, you bought this at the OTC level at the bottom. What if it goes up to the NYSE, the NASDAQ, S&P? If you start seeing these uplistings, just remember, you bought it so low that at this point in time, there's going to be a lot more money that moves into this stock. And so there you guys have it. I just wanted to quickly update you guys on Humbl because I wanted to share my thoughts on our most recent ER. I also wanted to talk about the revenues because I think that was the biggest thing holding us back. And so let's start to see if we can ride this one and claw up a little bit more. I'm not really concerned about the price action with Humbl. I just know that anytime we get onto these levels of support, these are buying opportunities. I think anything below $1.05 is going to be an absolute steal for the long term. And so if you're in this play, I'm very happy for you. If you're not in this play, maybe you should reconsider and try hopping in at these very attractive prices. Otherwise, guys, I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. This is Dummy Boy Finance. I'm Dummy Boy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.